You know, the Bible portrays realities about life that are enduringly true, 24/7, all the time. It's only natural, therefore, that we find our own portraits in its pages. Sometimes we're looking good, but often we're not. But always God is somewhere in the picture with us. This morning, we witnessed 3 biblical wrestling matches that show how it goes between heaven and earth. We start with Adam at the beginning of Genesis. We all remember how he struggled with the temptation to overreach the limits God set and snatch that forbidden fruit. Well, Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent, and the serpent didn't have a leg to stand on. In the telling, God takes his place prominently alongside these first humans, confirming that their choices do have big consequences. Going forward, human enjoyment of paradise will have to wait until the end of time. A few chapters further into Genesis, we come across the portrayal of Abraham. Childless and aging, Abraham is shocked when God promises him a whole nation of descendants, as well as a homeland for them to inhabit. Instantly, Abraham's heart leaps up in hope. But soon enough, he starts struggling with all the wandering and the waiting involved. God remains in the picture alongside Abraham and his wife Sarah, urging them on to the point where they both break out laughing at the utter absurdity of their ever producing a nation. In Hebrew, the name of their firstborn son, Isaac, literally means laughter. Many more chapters on, God and God's people are no longer on such jovial terms. Abraham's descendants remain landless nomads, and the stress of waiting has worn them down. In today's lesson, we meet Abraham's great-grandsons, Joseph and his elder brothers. All the boys have grown up with the cautionary tales about Adam's overreaching and Abraham's exhaustion. With their new generation, what's changed is their resentment over having to wait. Receiving no immediately useful message from heaven, the elder brothers turn on the younger and sell little Joseph to a passing band of slave traders. The hapless boy ends up in Egypt serving Pharaoh, and there his fortunes rise and fall and rise again. Just then, at the rise, the famished elder brothers arrive, hoping to buy grain. They find that Joseph has been put in charge of the royal granaries. Ah, little Joseph will be their salvation. Moved by the promptings of his own faithful heart, as Joseph first sees his brothers, he turns aside and weeps. Solitary tears trickle down his cheeks for all the years that have been lost to estrangement and regret, all the hopes and joys that have been sacrificed to selfish striving. In this portrayal, God no longer shows up as a strong, freestanding monarch who issues predictions and makes promises. No, he remains behind the scenes as an aggrieved creator, witnessing the faithlessness of his selfish creatures. God is crying through Joseph. And is it any wonder that in ages to come, the earthly father of Jesus Christ will bear the name of Joseph? For now, the young man regains his composure. Oh, it's been so many years. He turns back to face his brothers and reveals his own true identity. I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. God sent me before you to keep alive for you many survivors. It was not you who sent me here after all, but God. And oh yes, you did mean evil against me. Only God meant it for good. Again and again, the Bible insists that life moves forward simultaneously on two levels, the heavenly and the earthly. And so motives for whatever happens will always be mixed. But no matter what our struggles are in the moment, such as Adam's overreaching, or Abraham's endless wandering, or Joseph's relentless suffering, God is always seeing and caring and somehow, in the end, redeeming. It is a mystery how all this unfolds. As heaven weaves its way through human events, like sunlight darting in and out of the storm clouds. The flickering light makes Joseph's story the perfect finale for the season of Epiphany, reminding us what it's so often like as God's light breaks into our troubled world. Perhaps when you and I go home today, we'll take a bulletin with us and jot down a quote from today's reading. That way we can have it handy in days or months to come when anyone or anything makes us feel bullied. God sent me before you to keep alive for you many survivors. It was not you who sent me here, but God. And oh yes, you did mean evil against me, but God only meant it for good. Amen.